After the Ethiopian Airlines crash 2 weeks ago, countries around the world came together to ground the Boeing 737 MAX 8 when it was found that the plane itself may have caused the crash. Now the question has become, how was a self-crashing plane allowed to fly in the first place?
Federal investigators are looking into how the FAA approved Boeing's 737 MAX jet after similarities were found in 2 deadly crashes in less than 5 months.
Investigators are eyeing the possibility a single sensor failure sent the Lion Air 737 into a fatal nosedive, a shortcoming apparently missed by the FAA and Boeing.
At least 5 pilots in the U.S. complained about problems controlling their Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets during critical moments of flight.
Now the union says its pilots were not adequately trained.
We were provided a 56-minute iPad lesson, which we could accomplish at home or wherever we chose to.
Are you kidding me? The only training pilots had for this new plane was an hour on an iPad. And look, don't get me wrong, iPads are good for a lot of things, all right? Watching Netflix, getting your child to shut up, or taking a picture while ruining the view of everybody behind you. It's really great for that. I don't know why you brought an iPad to a concert, but that's you, clearly. Now I'm at a concert, watching the concert on your shitty little TV, but whatever. But what I don't know is why people are using an iPad to teach pilots, right? I don't know if an iPad is the best way to teach a pilot how to fly a plane. Mostly because it's hard to do anything for an hour on an iPad. So distracting. You're like, all right, lesson 1, here we go, let's get started. Oh, but first a little Twitter. Oh, here we go. And someone's like, have you done your training? Ah, no, but I bought some towels on Amazon. Now, Boeing says the reason they gave the pilots iPads is because this new plane is very similar to the old ones. But the experts are saying the real reason Boeing didn't do simulator training is because it saved everyone money. And now look, companies are always going to try and cut costs to maximize profits. But that's why you have regulators. Right? Regulators are there to make sure that cost cutting doesn't cut down on safety. And that's the job of the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. But it turns out somewhere along the line, the FAA went from Boeing's boss to Boeing's bitch.
In 2015, the FAA moved from focusing on enforcement to compliance and relying heavily on the airline's own safety programs to meet FAA standards. Since 2014, the number of enforcement actions against airlines has dropped roughly 70%. Scott Brenner, a former associate administrator at the FAA, says the agency does not have the resources to certify aircraft without the help of the manufacturer.
They are taking Boeing's word, but Boeing is also presenting data to prove their word.
Boeing basically outguns the FAA. They have far more expertise, and the FAA has become pretty much a toothless tiger.
Yeah, it turns out that because the FAA lacks funding, they can't afford to hire people skilled enough to certify the planes. So they just have to trust that the plane manufacturers will regulate themselves, which is a pretty sweet deal for the plane manufacturers. Like, I wish I could have done that in my life. I wish I could have graded my own homework at school. Yeah? I would have just sat there like, none of this is right. A minus, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be greedy. A minus, that sounds right. That's not how oversight works, right? You've got to have someone else looking over you. Imagine if God let us decide whether or not to smite ourselves. Yeah, we'd never do it. We'd probably just be like, well, I did covet Gary's wife, but in my defense, Gary's wife got that ass. God will understand. I mean, he made that ass.